Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. Today, Kyle Bauer talks with Ernie Shea with Solutions for the Land about how agriculture is working to save the climate crisis. Next up, Greg Akagi brings us the Kansas soybean update. Then Duane Toews talks to Raph Jolliffe with U.S. Custom Harvesters. He explains what their organization is doing to help with the extreme labor crisis in the U.S. Then we'll find out what's going on around the state with the Kansas Farm Bureau update. And to wrap up, it's Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane. It's all coming up on Farm Factor. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamandkansas.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor. Kyle Bauer talks with Ernie Shea about how agriculture is working to save the climate.
Our organization, the name is Solutions from the Land, and it is a farmer-led not-for-profit that is working to reposition agriculture as not just the sector that produces food, feed, and fiber, but the sector that delivers on all kinds of global challenges. And obviously we think of agriculture and food security, but agriculture plays a critical role in improving water quality, in stimulating rural economic development, in solving the climate crisis. So we are working to position agricultural landscapes as a major solution platform for these major global goals that are known in the UN system as the Sustainable Development Goals.
So that discussion of sustainable development goals has been going on quite some time, but American agriculture hasn't been able to be quite as involved as maybe we should have been.
I think that's fair, or maybe they haven't been able to get their head around it, because in UN speak, Sustainable Development Goals is one of those vague, global, conceptual agendas that, the average farmer probably says, what is that all about? Right. But what the world has done, 193 countries have banded together and said that by the year 2030, we're going to resolve the major challenges facing the world. We're going to achieve food security. We're going to eliminate water quality problems. We are going to eliminate poverty. These are big, big goals, and they're aspirational goals. And one of the newest ones that's drawing a lot of attention is climate change. So the world is gliding towards efforts to develop policies and programs to address all of these challenges. And our message is, don't forget about agriculture. Agricultural landscapes, well-managed farms and ranches and woodlands can not just produce food, feed, fiber, and energy, but we can filter and store water. We can enhance biodiversity. We can sink carbon in the ground. We can reduce greenhouse gas emissions through the use of biofuels. We are a place for solutions to these big sustainable development goals.
Well, and truly, it appeared that a lot of that evolution, that progress down that highway was taking place and making a lot of the things we did in American agriculture look counter to that instead of part of one of the solutions.
Well, our success is grounded in innovation and technology. Here at the Commodity Classic, we see examples everywhere you turn of technological solutions that have enabled U.S. agriculture to produce more with less. That's a wonderful success story that is not embraced by other stakeholders who are competing to write the future of agriculture around the world. So as we are engaged in the climate convention talks right now, we are finding that our common sense set of solutions using sustainable farming practice that will both feed the planet and help solve the climate crisis is enabled by precision agriculture, by technology, by GMO technologies. And other people are showing up saying the opposite, that agriculture is actually the problem with the world, that we pollute. We are creating significant greenhouse gas emissions. We are causing irreparable environmental harm. And they advocate a different approach. Their advocate is anti-technology. They want us to stop using basic inputs like commercial fertilizer because of a perception that it will throw the ecosystem out of balance, will create water quality degradation. Common sense systems and tools that we've used that we call climate smart agriculture practices are the way forward. So we are competing, if you will, within the United Nations system around the Climate Convention. We are actively advocating with Ambassador Kip Tom in the FAO in Rome to allow for, to enable agriculture and all of our innovation and technology to be used to solve the Sustainable Development Goals.
Thanks, Kyle. Stay with us. We have this week's Kansas soybean update coming up right after this.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas. Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff, like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Charlene Patton, Consumer Media Specialist with the Kansas Soybean Commission, joins us. Charlene, the month of April is here, meaning we celebrate the month as National Soy Foods Month.
Absolutely. We're always excited to remind consumers of the benefits of soy and then also provide to them new resources and information that they can use to plan their diets and learn more about the soy foods that are available.
Charlene, what are some of those new resources that you can provide to consumers?
Anyone that contacts our office here during the month of April could receive 2 different publications. One is the Soy Foods Guide, which is 32 pages with really a broad amount of information from the health benefits of soy. It includes a listing of all the different soy foods and explains what they are. Plus, it's filled with recipes as well. It also also will be sending out the Soy Connection, and that has just came out, the spring issue, and it is featuring fertility factors this year and how the soy foods makes an impact in that. And then we'll also provide our recipes that we're featuring for the month of April, and we have a lemon blueberry coffee cake, a whole wheat banana bread that's great, and then we're also featuring one of the recipes from the Soy Foods Guide.
And there are so many simple ways that you can incorporate soy into your diet.
We would really encourage consumers to do that, in that you can add soy flour to your canister. We use a 7-to-1 ratio, 7 cups of all-purpose flour to 1 cup of soy flour, and you can use that in anything for your baking and add that soy protein. The soy beverages can also be used in your ingredients when you're replacing maybe some of the milk ingredients. There's also tofu. You can use that to reduce the calories when you're also adding it to dressings and some of the other recipes. So it's not always finding a whole new recipe. We provide a lot of guidelines where you can just incorporate them into the recipes you're already doing.
What's the best way for consumers to get these soy foods guides?
They can go online to kansassoybeans.org and request it, or they can call our 800 number, 877-KS-Soybean, and ask for the April promotion for National Soy Foods Month.
Charlene, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Charlene Patton, Consumer Media Specialist with the Kansas Soybean Commission, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Coming up next, Duane talks with Raph Jolliffe about what their organization is doing to deal with the labor crisis.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer it and work with you.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Let's go to Duane, who is with Raph Jolliffe from U.S. Custom Harvesters.
Duane Toews joining you once again on the program. A chance to catch up with U.S. Custom Harvesters. And Raph Jolliffe joins us once again this year. Raph, kind of a year to end all years, I guess, with the ability of crop harvesters in the northern plains to try and get fall harvest wrapped up. It's not done yet, unfortunately. But let's talk a little bit about U.S. Custom Harvesters and what you're trying to do, represent, and do the good things for the people of the organization.
You know, Duane, the U.S. Custom Harvesters is a member-based organization. We've got a little over 400 harvester members in the organization. As a board and as an organization, we try to promote a lot of the issues that come before us in our industry and things that can be negative or positive for us. So, immediately after our convention that was just held the end of January, early February, we sent out, I believe, 4 members of our board to Washington, D.C. They joined forces with the NCAE, National Council of Agricultural Employers, and joined their convention. And we learn a lot on the H-2A regulations that are coming down the pipe, and get a little bit of input on what we're seeing, what's happening, and where things are going, and things to be up to date on. And then with that, we try to share that information back with our members. We've got a monthly newsletter we put out. We've got email blasts, social media, Facebook, that we try to share a lot of that information with our membership with, and keep them up on the issues. Of course, we're here at Commodity Classic and trying to promote the organization itself and see if we can't draw some new membership and make new acquaintances here, other vendors that might be interested in us and our operators and guys that we associate with. We'll be back out in D.C. in March. We'll be out there for National Ag Day. We spend a lot of time. We try to get on the Hill and meet with our representatives and our senators, congressmen. So as an organization, we're trying to stay ahead of some of the issues coming down the pipe.
You'd referenced the H-2A. Obviously, labor is always a focal point for the organization and your members, custom harvesters, some domestic, some utilizing foreign labor. All of those create some challenges at times.
Labor is the number one issue in our industry, and actually we just had last week, our board met in Kearney, Nebraska, and we had a meeting there for 2 days and redefined our strategic plan for the organization. And that strategic plan essentially reads, we are focused to find and to help with the extreme labor crisis that we're facing in the agriculture sector in America right now.
It certainly doesn't just affect you guys, but it appears because a number of your operations are not year-round operations. Obviously, you can only harvest when there's something available, that you utilize more part-time labor, so to speak, full-time at the time, but it creates those issues on getting those new labor in every year, it seems like. I know a lot of you guys have folks that come back each year. Let's switch gears a little bit. It's a diverse organization. Typically we think about cutting wheat or fall crops in the Central Plains, but you got forage harvesters and cotton guys, and it's a pretty diverse group.
It is. We've got members from as far east as Pennsylvania, west to California. There's a lot, California and even New York. You don't think about it as a huge silage state. Not to take anything away from the grain guys, but yeah, that's what you typically think of as the grain harvesters that run from Texas clear to Montana. Some of them even diving up into Canada a little bit, but we've got members from all over the country, so we are a very diverse group.
Talk a little about, I know as far as driving, and you got a lot of folks that are going over the road with heavy equipment and operators. The CDL thing, it seems to me that there were some questions a year ago, or are we more clear on that at this point?
You tell me where the government's going to go with the rules and regulations, and I'll tell you what to do. There was, we were pushing, there was an issue coming up that I think it was January 6th, or maybe it was February 6th of this year. There was some driver training rules that were coming down the pike, and literally, a couple of days before it was supposed to be enforced, all of a sudden they backed it up 2 more years. So that particular issue, which is one of the many that we try to stay ahead of, again, it just overnight changes, and that's the types of things we try to stay in front of. Now, as an organization with our members, we typically are looking, to employ some of these younger guys that have no experience and are looking for experience. We're looking for that younger guy that needs to gain some time in the seat and the wisdom and the CDL itself, because most of these over-the-road companies are going to require you to have 2 or 3 years of experience. So that's actually a benefit that our organization, provides to a lot of younger guys, is that opportunity to get that experience and that education that they need to move forward.
Our thanks to Raph joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for the Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new health care coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
Do you care about the environment? Listen up. Here's a quick report card on agriculture's impact. If you're concerned about the amount of land required to grow our food, guess what? The evolution of agriculture has changed everything. Going back to just 1990, farmers would have needed nearly 100 million more acres to harvest the same amount of corn, cotton, rice, soybeans, and wheat produced in 2018. That's roughly the size of the entire state of California. Because farmers need less land for crops, more land is being dedicated to conservation. Get this, farmers and ranchers have 140 million acres in voluntary federal conservation programs. That's equivalent to California and New York combined. Farmers and ranchers are doing more with less, which helps protect our land, air, and water. America's ag innovation is paying off big time. Globally, agriculture is responsible for around 24% of greenhouse gas emissions. But farmers here in the U.S. are leading the way, accounting for less than 10% of our country's emissions. That means agriculture's impact is far smaller than transportation, energy production, or industry. The truth is, America's farmers and ranchers have been shrinking their environmental footprint for 30 years. U.S. milk production has increased 71%, while per unit emissions have declined by almost 25%. Pork production has increased by 17%, yet per unit emissions have declined by more than 18%. And beef production has increased by 50%, but per unit emissions have fallen by nearly 8%. Now consider this. Farmers are trapping carbon in the soil through cover crops and new planting techniques. Combine this with the benefits of our forests and it more than offsets agriculture's direct emissions. So there you have it. America's farmers and ranchers are making great strides to take care of the earth while continuing to provide safe, healthy, affordable food for your family and mine.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values, commitment, and transparency.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to today on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk. With the guy who always said when someone says you ride like you're part of that horse, you might ask what part of the horse he's talking about. Duane Toews.
You never know.
Never know.
Sometimes it's better not to ask.
Don't
if you're
ask.
Not willing to take the answer.
Just choose to take every compliment or comment as a compliment.
Yeah. I've seen it's amazing. I think there's probably more difference in humans' skill to ride a horse from the very worst to the very best rider. I mean, that is a broad chasm of abilities.
The other day, I saw a contest on YouTube where they were shooting bows and arrows on the back of horses riding through a course. Now, the course was painted, so the horse obviously was taught to follow that.
Follow the line.
But that horse was running all out. This guy is sitting on the back of this horse, shooting targets with a bow, pulling arrows out of the quiver and reloading, and he didn't have a saddle on.
Oh, bareback.
Bareback.
Just like an Indian.
I'm telling you what, I watched 4 different people do it. I don't know, both sexes. And I'm thinking, what is that? It wasn't hard enough to run that horse all out without your hands, by the way. You got to understand.
Right.
You're not even using your hands.
You're using your legs.
Running that horse all out and staying on as the horse does this thingy.
Right.
But then you're shooting at targets with a bow and arrow.
I'm saying it'd have been much easier just to sit and shoot a rifle.
I'd say a lot easier to just watch them.
Yeah. There are the abilities of a true horse person pretty impressive when they can do those kinds of things.
In all candor, that's one of the most favorite things I do when I watch old westerns is watch the horsemanship.
Some's pretty good.
Some's
not so bad.
Yeah, but they're usually fair horsemen, and it's amazing how the horse flesh varies a lot. If you get a movie with a lot of horses, hey, sometimes you get down a ways on some horse. I will tell you, the neatest one I ever saw was on Braveheart, where the star of the movie, can you tell me who it was? Anyway, he is up there and riding a horse with a little old string around their neck, rides up to this general, delivers this line of just scathing, looking right in the general's eyes, and this horse the whole time is just doing
Dancing
this.
and prancing.
And he's just looking that guy in the air and staying on that horse, and I'm going, that old boy's pretty good horseman right there. Yeah.
Boy, they shot a lot of film to make this all look the
all
same.
those times he fell off.
The old key grip guy was earning his bucks on that one. Your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer. In the country of France, there's literally a church inside the trunk of a tree. Fact or fiction?
Did you see where the big redwood fell down, where they cut it out so you could drive through the middle?
Oh, that one.
A week or so ago, it fell down.
I didn't see that.
Church inside of a tree trunk.
Tree trunk.
Well, it may not be a big church, but the Church of Bark and Leaf. I'll go with fact.
That's what it says. Not only that, they say it's 1,000 years old.
Huh. Well,
the church.
The church.
Not the tree. The church is 1,000 years old.
The tree would probably be older.
If you're going to hold church inside the tree, I suspect you'd be right.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agamInKansas.com.